behalf of on behalf of YMCA and AKG Skills Foundation, I welcome all the listeners in this webinar. So the content of webinar that I have planned for you, it is in the very first slides, I am going to cover robots, systems and cell component, then robot configuration, and how we can set up our robot, how can we can define different operations on the robot. Then we will go for concept of robot programming. So how you can select robot, how you can program your robot. And later on, we cover this major applications related to industrial robots and what are the latest trends going on in this fields. So these are contents I'm going to cover in my 2 sessions. So before I start, just think you all have to think once why we need this automation and robotics. Why we need this automation and robotics? So this is very big questions. If this why is not clear, why I'm asking, if this why is not clear to you, so why you go for automation, why you go for robotics, if it is not clear at your end, you are not going to easily adopt this technology. If your why is clear with this, why you are going for automation, why you are adopting this robotics in your industry, so that means you are going to gain maximum from this technology. So the reason behind this, why we have to switch for automation and robotics, the big reason is this current change in manufacturing nature. So if you see, you can find the current industry works on this phenomena, HMLV. It means high mix, low volume. If you have any idea about our past production strategy, so they always focused on high volume, low mix. But nowadays people are demanding they need so many variant of any one product, but not in very high volume, because when variants goes in high numbers, it is ultimately going to lower down your volume. So suppose any company is producing car or any mobile or any other electronics equipments or any other products. So they have to deal in various variant, like variant A, variant B, variant C, up to variant L. In this example, I have given from A to L variant. And here you can see there are different volume. So A required in this much volume, B required in this much, E required in very less volume. So like that, you have to go with this changing in nature of manufacturing. It means you have to make your plant capable to produce more and more variant, not in very high volume, but it should cover high mix. So it is a very big challenge in today's industry. That's why for this fast switchover from one product to another product, you required or you need this automation and robotics things. So this technology will help you out to getting all these like a strategy in your plant. So see, again, you can deeply understand what I'm trying to say here. Why we need this? Because if you see the earlier production phenomena of any automotive industry, like here I have taken example of Maruti. So here this Maruti 800 produced or introduced in 1984, and they had business around 9 years. Then they have introduced this Gen, then Alto, like that. So if you see in between these two products, there is huge gap, huge years of gap you can easily find in between these two products. And this was the earlier strategy or earlier customer demand. But nowadays people want high mix. So here same Maruti has changed their production strategy in this way. Like in every 6 months or in every year, they are producing new car, new model, or some it also update it also coming with some major updation in their old models. So these are the strategy how you can achieve this. Suppose you have to create one model for a year, that is very easy task. But suppose you have to create 10 or 20 models of any product in a year, so you have to depend upon this automation and robotics thing. Then only you can make this quick changeover in your plants. So before I'm going to like more go in the depth of robotics, I want to clarify, if you see these two terms always comes together, automation and robotics. So can you like give your reply in chat box? Suppose you have three options, A, B, and C. So A, B, C is the three options for you. Like what is your opinion? Automation is big domain, under that robotics works, or you thinks like that robotics is a very big domain or a big umbrella, under that this automation things work? Or the third options for you is there is no relation between robotics and automation. Can you answer this? Like, what is your opinion? Automation is a big domain, or robotics, or there is no relation? So I have received few replies. So this is the option A is the right one. Yes. Option A is the correct one. Automation is a very big domain. Under that, you can say robotics works. So robotics is basically a element of automation. So whenever we have to apply like automation for any product line, we may take help of robotics domain also. So that is a part of automation. So from this slide, I'm just trying to give you an idea. Automation, you cannot like eliminate, or you cannot forget this automation while you are applying robotics. So if you are applying robotics for any application, it means you are following these automation things. That's why it's all come together. And a basic definition of automation itself says, like, it's a technique of making an apparatus or a process or a system to operate automatically. So here we are considering three things. First is any apparatus. Second thing, any machine or any process. Third is any system. So any machine, any process, any system, if you are able to make them operate automatically, so that means you are following this automation thing. So this is the simplest definition of automation. So same thing we are trying to achieve through robotics also, because robotics is a part of automation. So through that, so here you can say robot is a apparatus or a machine. So robot will come under this, or it may come also under this system or apparatus. So system, what is robot? What is robot? What is robot system? There is huge difference between that. So that I am going to clarify when I'm going to take this term in more depth. So later on, I will cover what is the difference between robot and robot systems. But at this point of moment, you just understand whatever hardware or software you are using to make anything like happen automatically, it should be with the help of some automation elements. Here you can see some processes. Here a ball get automatically painted. So this is automation. So here things are happening automatically. In this second example, you can see parts get rejected based on our criteria, pre-fit criteria. So here a conveyor is supplying some product, and at this inspection and we are rejecting certain product because of our some threshold value and whatever input we have given to this system. In the below three figures, you can see this is robotic surgery we are performing. We are performing pick and place through robot. We are handling one material and another material with the help of these two conveyors. Again, here in this example, you can say we are doing some assembly kind of things with the help of robotic arm. So robot here used as a one element of automation. But overall, a big picture of this all example is we are doing automation. Under that, we may use or may not use this robotic arm. So that is the idea here. Now, again, I'm just trying to like convey why this robotics is very important for you, for your industry, for your organization. Just try to understand through this example. If your why is clear, then nobody can stop you to buying this technology, to learn this technology. So see, in this slide, you can see some cooling units are there, maybe AC, cooler or other things. Why we need this AC? Why we need this cooling unit? So if this why is not clear to you, you are not going to buy or you are not going to install these kind of like hardwares like AC or cooler at your home. Because your why is clear at this point of moment, you want to avoid this hot environments. That's why you are installing this AC. So if your why is clear, no one is going to stop you to buy 50,000 rupees AC for you. Now, again, a very common general life example. If you are installing geyser in your washrooms, why you are installing these geysers? Again, if that why is not clear to you, you are not going to install it because it having some cost ultimately. So why we are normally install these geysers? Because when we feel cold, like, so we have to bath with hot waters and for other purpose, we require these things. Here again, our why is clear. That's why we are installing these appliances at our home. And the last example, why we are having this water purifier units at our home, because nobody wants to drink dirty water. So everyone want to have clean water. And for that purpose, we are installing this units at our home. So in these three examples, you are very why you go for AC, why you go for geysers, why you go for like a water units, water purifier units. So in same way, if you are not clear with this robotics or this automation, you are not going to easily adopt this thing because it's required some investments. It's also required some learning, some competency, so that you can take some major advantage from this technology. If this why is clear, that means you are ready for this automation and robotics. So I'm trying to like clear this why in my few upcoming slides, then we directly jump to the robotics. Just see one more example here. See, this is the strongest species on this earth, on this world, basically, you can say. So this was dinosaur, and here you can say giraffe is there. It is not the strongest, but having some other unique quality. Now, if you consider both species nowadays, so you cannot find this dinosaur on this earth, but yes, giraffes are still available on this earth. If you closely think, or if you logically think why this happened, why dinosaur is no more, why giraffes are there, so you can see there is one major characteristics that giraffes have is the flexibility, or you can say adaptability. If you are not flexible enough, if you are not adaptable enough to the current nature, to the current environment, to the current technology, you are not going to survive. So this is the basic and very important message from this slide. Like if you are not ready to adopt, if you are not flexible enough against the current situation, current environment, your survival will be a very difficult. So this is well defined by one of the great scientists, Professor Charles Darwin. He has given a theory under that. He mentioned only the fittest will survive. So this is having a very big meaning. Only the fittest will survive. And in this last line, you can see one most responsive to the change. If you are not responsive to the change, that means you are not going to survive. As you are aware, industry 4.0 is running, is going on. If you are not going to adopt this industrial revolution 4 in a very easily manner for your industry, that means your survival will be a very difficult for this coming time. So if you are not ready to adopt this latest tools and technology, it means again, I'm doubting like if your survival will be easy or difficult. So there is no doubt if you're not going to adopt any latest tools and technology for your industry, it means it is very, very difficult for you. You can easily understand these things by this example also. See, if I'm going to replace your laptop or your computer with this typewriter, Suppose I'm going to give you assignment, like you have to type A4 full page text. So how much time you will take on this laptop? Hardly I'm saying hardly you will take 20 minutes, hardly. If your typing speed is very slow, you will type one full A4 size in 20 minutes. But I can challenge you, you cannot type the same assignment with this typewriter in whole day, because you have to first learn these things. Then it is not very adaptable. It is not very easy to like handle this technology, outdated technology. Same thing happened with your touch pad phone with the smartphone. See, if you forget your phone at home and you came to office, it is very difficult for us to survive for a whole day. So like that, if you are not attached, if you are not updated with latest tools and technology, it will be a very difficult for us. Not for you, for us, it is very difficult to survive in this digital world. So what we need to just handshake our things with this digital world. If you are not going to follow this digital world, it means you are having lot of trouble. So that's why everything is getting smarter, because they are ready to adopt new things. This kickstart can convert it into, but like self, this huge size camera can be reduced with very slim trim cameras. Huge music system can be replaced by again very small size and very effective in sound quality things. This huge bulky phones can be replaced by these smartphones. Huge like televisions can be replaced with this 0.2 inches LEDs and TFTs. And again, you can see one major change in our railway system also. So everything in every product, you can easily identify things are changing. Things are changing because they are ready to adopt. Same thing you can find with this smart home, smart school, smart villages. You can find smart cities are there, smart entertainment. You can watch movies on Netflix or Amazon Prime based on your need and choice. So see here, this is a smart health. Nobody wants, like in nowadays, suppose you want to like gift a watch to your friend or your family members, they are straight away going to ask you, please give it me smart watch, not normal watch, because it can monitor your health parameter also. So our traveling is also getting smart because of this Uber, Ola, and other applications. Our transactions is also getting smart because of this Phone Pay, Paytm, Google Pay, and all applications. So here in all these examples, you can see basically why we are making our life comfortable, because we are ready to handshake with this digital era. If you're not ready to handshake with this digital era or this latest tools and technologies, that is well demand under industry 4.0. If that is not the same, that means again I'm saying same line, the survival will be a little bit difficult for you. So if everything is getting smart, so why not our industry? See, this is the very old scenario of industry where a lot of people working together on same assembly line or any plants. But here, if you see current industry picture, you can find so many robotic arms, so many automations, things are like floating on the soft floor, and you can find very few persons on the soft floor for basically managing a few things that require some human inspection and other things. So if you observe closely our today's industry, you can find each and every from the starting, like here, you can say some sheet metal cutting is going on the press shop. So here again, for sheet metal handling, we have robot. Then again, for the on the chassis, some parts are fitted by this robot. Some online inspection, you can say here, is going on this robot. Then some painting operation, you can see here with the help of robot we are doing. Again, wheel fitting, some more assembly we are doing, seat assembly. Then rear and front glass shields we are placing with the help of robot. So this is an example of just an automotive production line. So here you can say almost each and every step of our automotive manufacturing, we are using or we are availing the facility of robots, because it gives high precision, high quality, and also a rate of production you can achieve more this automation and robots. So there are few more examples. Suppose you are going with robot. So why you are go with robot? In my few slides, I have already covered why you go for robot. But if you are going with robot, by default, it is going to offer you so many other things. So these are the byproducts of like robot, using robot. Like it offers you repeatability, good repeatability, adaptability, so that you not have to make major changes in your present production line. You can easily update your system with the help of few robotic arm. It provides accuracy, lot of flexibility is there because of this robotic arm. That's why we are saying we are able to achieve high mix low volume product with the help of that. Then speed, then job efficiency goes high. Yes, this is again a very important advantage, you can say. Robots never strike, there is no limit, you will be stay competitive. And on paper it is proven that like within 3 years you will get your ROI. Whatever things, whatever capital you have invested in your plant, says like in 3 years you can easily get that money back in your pocket. So this is some other benefits that robots offers if you are going and if you are going to adopt this technology. So these are the things. And as you know, everyone customer, if you talk about customer demand, so every customer wants fast delivery, high variety, that means high mix, that is high mix, rapid product launch, high quality, cutthroat competition, innovative. So all these things we want from any product. So, and the more important things behind all this concept is, this is a customer and that is impatience. He or she cannot wait for a long time. Suppose you have money in your pocket. Just take 20 years ago example. Suppose I am going to book my 800 cars in blue color, and waiting time for this is suppose 6 months. So I have to wait for 6 months. There is no choice. And after 6 months, suppose company says, no, I have a 800 car for you, but not in blue color, it is in white color. So ultimately I'm going to compromise with my choice, and I go and buy that particular car. But same scenario, if you consider nowadays, suppose you have money in your pocket and you want some car, some brand car, any car example you can take in particular color you want. If that is not available with Delhi dealers, you can go with Faridabad dealers. If that is not available there, you can go with Gurgaon, you can go with Ghaziabad. So there are so many options you have, but you are not going to wait for it. So here, this is the main scenario that you have to understand. Customer is getting impatience today. So that's why you have to play with their choice. You have to make available all the color choices, not only color choices. The more important is on time. So you have to play with all these things. Then only you can be a competitive in market. See, by sensing this change, like industry 1.2 to 1.0 to 2.0, from 2.0 to 3.0. Now, in today's scenario, it is industry 4.2. So current industry demand says we have to handshake with this industry 4.0, and how we can match this changing nature, the phenomena that we have to follow, how we can match the changing nature of manufacturing just by entering with industry 4.0. And only two things we have to do. We have to fine tune ourselves. We have to fine tune ourselves on all the technologies available with industry 4.0, and also by adopting these tools. Like industry 4.0 says, You have to work with the robot, Internet of Things, simulation, cyber security, system integration, cloud computing, 3D printing, big data, augmented reality. So these are the few technologies. Maybe all these technologies are not applicable for your organization. So whatever technology is most relevant to you, you have to just adopt that technology. You have to opt that technology from the market, and you have to fine tune. Fine tune means you have to make yourself competent enough so that you can do wonders with these technologies. So these are the things. With the help of that, you can match the changing nature of this demand. And if you see here, the fourth industrial revolution is here. We all know. Are we ready? World Economic Forum says, what is the impact of this industrial revolution for? By 2022, over half of the all workers in India will require reskilling to meet the talent demand of the future. So you have to reskill yourself, or you have to skill yourself in this area so that you can be easily gain the advantage of this technology. Now, after listening me like from last half an hour, can you say robotics is still a choice for you, or it is a need? What you say? It is still a choice or need? So I think all of you agree there is no choice. We have to have switch with this robotics. So it's need of today's scenario. Without robotics, without automation, we cannot do anything, because if we are not going to match our pace with this latest tools, we are going to lose our market. And if we want to gain some more and more customers, we want to gain more profits and other things. So you have to work with this latest tools and technology. That is straight away. So here I have given you a message why robotics and other things are very important. Now here we start our technical things, why, how, where we can apply this automation and robotics. So that is start with this thing. See, if you see product cycle of any product, see, it start with customer requirement. Suppose I have to make some product for n numbers of customers. So how I'm going to create that product? It start with very first step, customer requirement. So after understanding customer requirement, I will create some product concept, what actually you want, what actually customer wants. Then after understanding the product concept, I will try to develop some design. I will go with some drawings and design kind of things. After that, I will go for manufacturing drawing. So here design engineering and manufacturing drawing, there is a difference. See, while I'm designing certain things, I'm not considering assembly and manufacturing part. But if I'm creating manufacturing drawing, it means I'm following the principle of DFMA, design for manufacturing and assembly. So I'm creating drawing according to our manufacturing and assembly needs. So after this if manufacturing drawings are ready, then I go for production planning. I will plan my production. Then production starts, actual production is going on here. After that, whatever product we are producing from this station, we have to make a quality check. So we do quality control here. And at the end, we have to dispatch this material. So this is a complete product cycle. If you're working with any product, so you have to follow all these steps with your product. Now, in between, like all these, like here we have switch over, here we have switch over, here we have switch over. So in between these switchovers, we required some automation. So where you think this automation will work, where we have to minimize the cycle time. So you first understand there are 3 time activity that you have to understand. This is design activity only one time that we have to perform. So here, this is T1. Now, second activity we have to do setup time. So that is per batch activity. Please understand this is a very good concept. So these are the place, because here we are here things are taking more time in designing, in setup, and at the end in manufacturing time. So manufacturing means here we are producing, suppose 1000 products. So 1000 products should go with this inspection. So this is per unit product activity. So again, it is very high time taken process. So if you have to like consider time wise, so T1, T2 and T1, T2 and T3. So T3 is having the highest time. So role of automation comes where we have to minimize these 3 times. So the goal of automation and robotics in smart manufacturing is that to optimize the various time elements in product life cycle so that ultimately we are going to achieve product high numbers of product in a very less time. So these are the 3 elements. Now, if you are considering industrial automation, if you are considering automation technologies, so it will only work with T2 and T3. So automation technology is mainly concerned about reducing time taken under T2 and T3 element. But when we considering a smart manufacturing that we have to follow under Industrial Revolution 4, under smart manufacturing, we cannot forget this third element, that is T1. We have to also work with this design activity, how we can minimize this design activity time. So this is the basic difference if we're talking about automation. So we have to take care of only these 2 time elements. But in case of a smart manufacturing, we have to take care of all these elements. So this I have already discussed, like advanced robotics is a big domain. Under that, Industrial Revolution 4 is going to happen. So on this, we are trying to like share some knowledge through this webinar. So as I said, automation is a big domain, and you agreed. So automation having these three basic element. One is input, second is control, or you can say processing. So this is the second element, and third element is the output. So normally for input, we require take some signals from industrial sensors. Suppose we are having some boilers, so we can take some heat sensors, temperature sensors, or we may require motion sensors, door sensor, anything. So here various sensors are available. So sensors can be used as an input technology for any kind of automation. If you are master with all these 3 elements, please try to understand, if you are master with all these 3 elements, means input, control technologies and output technology, no one can you stop doing good automation in your organization. So either you have to like if you are good enough to play with the sensors, if you are good enough with play with these controllers, PC based, PLC based, PSC based, and these are the actuation technologies, like this is pneumatics, this is hydraulics, this is electrical. So in this world, suppose we want to like we want to apply certain kind of automation for any operation. So we have to actuate our operation with the help of this hydraulic system, pneumatic system, and electrical system. So there is no other way to do automation. So you have to have depend upon all these 3 elements, these energy sources: hydraulics, pneumatics, and electrical. So now here I have a question with all audience. See, I have proven, you also agree, automation is a very big domain. Under that, robotics works. So again, if I'm discussing automation in a very basic level, like in the terms of elements, so this is the first element, this is the second element, and this is the third element. So where is robotics? Can you find robotics? Can you answer? Like suppose this is A, B, C, and D. Where you can fit this robotics? If robot is a part of automation, so where we can fit? Robot can be fit here. Robot can be fit here. or robot can be fit here? So you have to just answer in terms of ABCD. Just try to reply whatever things comes in your mind. There is no issue whether you are correct or wrong. Answer is input. Robot can be fit at this part, at controller part, at output part, at all together. So yes, I'm getting few replies. Okay, let me explain why robots you cannot see in this three elements window, because it is some mixed kind of technology, but I'm trying to explain you. And here itself, I'm trying to explain what is robot and what is robotic or robot system. So see, if we are talking about robot, so robot, if you have any idea, robot is a kind of manipulator having some links and joints, and at the end we have some tool. So these joints we have to move. So these joints should be having some rotation or some movement that can be done with the help of electrical motors, or some that can be done through pneumatics, or that can be done through hydraulics. If we are using all these three technologies here, basically robot is going to act as an actuation technology. So you can fit your robot here at the output end, because suppose I have to pick some part from the conveyor. So the ultimately actuation is going to happen robotic arm. And how this robot arm getting actuated with the help of any one of these three technologies, pneumatic, hydraulics, or electrical. So normally we say this is electromechanical. It is a electromechanical things that basically in most of the robot you can find electrical motors are placed at this joint. So that is using electrical energy. So it means, and this robotic arm is always used for actuation. So we can fit this robotic arm here. So robot alone or robotic arm, you can say, can be placed at this output. But when we're talking about robot system, again, try to understand what is robot system. What is system basically? Before that, robot, we have to understand what is system. See, we have different systems like education systems. So in education system, we have management, we have director, we have HOD, we have faculties, we have lab assistant, we have student, we have peon, we have other working like employees. So all these create some all in a system. Basically different entities are playing their role, then only whole system will work. Suppose you have one fan. So this is fan, under that 4 wings are there. If this fan is disassembled, so you can, like, if this is a fan, if this is going to disassemble, you can break this fan in around 20 parts. If you are going to eliminate any one part, suppose I am going to eliminate this wing, can this work? Can this fan will work? No. The straight answer is no, because each and every element that placed under this fan having some function, and all these elements working together to achieve one common goal. So that creates system. In same way, when we talk about robot system, so robot system means robots should have their arm, robots should have their controller, robots should have their teach pendant, or you can say remote, like that. So these are the basic element. Means this is robotic arm. How we can operate, or how we can give command to this robotic arm with the help of some controller. and how controller gets signal with the help of some teach pendant. In that, some keys are there. I'm just feeding some information to this controller. This controller is going to control this robotic arm. So robotic arm can be fit in automation altogether with the option. But when we talk about only robotic arm, it can be best suited with output end. So this is the complete story of like basic elements of automation, and where your robot fits, I have already explained. So in that way, you have to think. Now come to the robotics. So first, before going more in robotics, just see what is robot density. Robot density is the parameter in that robot installed per 10,000 employee in a factory or in a country. So here I'm taking a ratio like per 10,000, how many workers or other employees are coming in ratio. So this is a very famous society, International Federation of Robotics. So through that, I have taken this slide. In that, you can see world average is around 113, means 113 robots per 10,000 workers are available. World average. This is worldwide. In Asian countries, it is 118. So if you see Singapore having the highest robot density, that is 918 robot per 10,000 worker. When we talk about Italy, it is 210. When we talk about Germany, it is 346. Japan 364. China, if you are interested in China, you can see 187 robots per 10,000 workers. You cannot find India in this table because it is below the average one. It is below the world average one. Currently, the robot density of India is 6 robots per 10,000 worker. So it is very less. We have to go far in this domain. And here, this is some sad part because we are not having very high numbers. But if you see the statistics of this slide, it says the main driver of growth for Asia is robotic market, because this blue tower shows Asian countries. So in this number, like you can put 30 in front of that, 420 and 30 more. This much robots we are going to buy 2022 in Asian countries. In same way, you can find 1.9 million operating robots will be there in Asian factories and by 2022 or by 2020. So these are the figures. This is the statistics that I have taken in 2019 basis survey. So the good news for Indian or for India is that we are going to buy higher numbers of robots. If we are going to buy higher numbers of robots, means we are going to cover so many applications with this robot. So we required good numbers of trained manpower, competitive people in this domain so that they can handle this hardware, these technologies, and they can take proper advantage with these technologies. So there is no field that is untouched with this robot. If you talk about automotive, you can find huge numbers of robots are there. Electrical electronics companies having these robots. Metal industry, you can find plastic, chemical, food, and many other more. In medical industries also, it is having good numbers. We are using good numbers of robot. So what is robot? So let's start. What is robot? The basic definition of robot says, before that, just see here, when it comes to robot, people picture humanoid. We always think if you take this term in front of your family member, like I'm working on robot, they always assume you are working with some humanoid kind of things. If you talk with your friend also, that is not, if they are not having good knowledge, they always think robot means, yes, you are working with some humanoid kind of thing, Sophia kind of thing. But it is not always true. Humanoids comes very later in this robotics domain that I will also discuss. So these are the generation of robot. in 1960, we started with first generation robot, that is non-servo control robot. In 1980, we got our second breakthrough, like servo control robots are introduced in market. In third generation robot in 1990, we started with working servo control plus AI, artificial intelligence based robot. And the generation of fourth is covered by humanoid one that we normally consider while we are talking about robots. So that is the robot that invented in their fourth generation in 2000 onwards. Now worldwide research is going on biological robots. So this is 2010, like people started their research or they're working on this biological robots where researchers are saying here robots can create their own miniatures. Means you need not to like create robots. They are capable enough to produce their cloning. So these are the current scenario that is going on worldwide, but still it will take a lot of time to come in existence. But yes, up to this humanoid robot, we have achieved this level. And why we always compare human with robot? So there is very basic things that you have understand. Whatever things human have can be replaced by some other things with robot. Like bones can be replaced with mechanical structure. Muscles of human can be replaced with actuators. It can be electrical, hydraulics, or pneumatics. Senses can be replaced with sensors. Respiration can be AC/DC power. Brain of human controller for robot. Knowledge of human being can be replaced with programming of this robot. So you can see there are so many similar things we have created. So that's why people always assume robot as a human. And in general, if you see robot, so some people consider stationary robots that having different degree of freedom. Some people consider wheeled robots, some legged robots, some swimming, flying, these different kind of robots. And if you have to group these robots, so there are several categories available, like based on their movement, based on their degree of freedom, based on their rotations, based on their functions. We can divide these robots in various classes. But this is the basic definition that says robot is a machine designed to execute one or more tasks automatically with speed and precision. So robot do repetitive tasks, multitasking, multi-integrations we can do. Job efficiency of robots is also very high. Accuracy is also very high. We can achieve good flexibility, then good quality product. So see, as I said in last slide, robot can be classified in so many ways, but this is the best way to understand robot. At this point of view, robot can be industrial or can be service robot. So these two categories covers all the robots. Like here, industrial robots means a robot that used for manufacturing or logistic handling, a service robot that can be used for domestic and professional uses. So here you can say in machine tool, material remover, palletizing, material handling, welding, any industrial application you can cover with this. AGV, automated guided vehicles, are also considered as a industrial robot because it's having like 3 degrees of freedom. It can move in X, Y, and Z direction also. Now come to this service robotics. Here you can say some lawn moving, vacuum cleaning, entertainment robot. Robot can be used for defense, field, medical, professional, underwater, construction. So there are so many domains in that you can apply this service robotics. In agriculture fields also nowadays people are working with drone and other technologies. So that is a part of service robotics. Now from this slide onwards, we are going to only talk about this industrial robots, how we can get benefited by these industrial robots. So robots, again, industrial robots, these robots can be industrial, can be cobot, or can be autonomous. So autonomous means AGV types, automated guided vehicle types. Cobot means where human being and your robotics arm both working together. And this is the industrial robots that we are going to discuss now. So if we have to understand what is the basic and very essential definition of industrial robots. So it can be understand in this way. So ISO says any device or any hardwares that can automatically controlled, that can be reprogrammable, that can be multi-purpose manipulator. It's having 3 or more axes, which can be fixed. Robot can be fixed or it can be placed on mobile platform also. So few things we can withdraw with this. So one thing is that I have simplified this definition in this way. If your hardware is able to sense, if it if it is able to carry out different tasks, if it is able to reprogrammable, and if it is having 3 or more axes. In bracket it is written P and R, prismatic and revolute. Prismatic means you are going to get linear motion, and revolute means you are going to get some rotational motion. So it must have 3 or more axes. It can be pure prismatic. Pure prismatic means all P, or it can be pure rotational or pure revolute also, or it can be a mix of PRR or PPR, any combination you can have with this. So just try to understand, it must have some sensing ability. Second is it must carry out different tasks. Means with the help of robot, you can carry at a time welding, you can carry gluing operation, you can carry out painting, you can carry out machining, you can carry out inspection. So you can do n number of operation with the help of industrial robots. For that only you have to change your code and you have to change your tool. Rest of the things will work same. So if all these characteristics, if all this quality, or you can say things you can find in any hardwares, that can be considered as robot. So this is a qualifying criteria or for designating any machine as a robot. So this is very basic law of robotics that is given by Asimov. So law of robotics, first law of robotics says it must not injure human beings. So I have summarized this law in this red lines in brackets. So first law concluded in this way, like it must not injure. Second law can be considered, it must obey all the instructions given by a human being, and it must protect first human being and then itself. So this is the basic law of robotics. While you are designing any robot or while you are working with any robot, please keep all these 3 laws in your mind, because if you're working with this, so please follow the safety rules, because it may injure you because you are not properly like guiding your robotic arm or programming your robotic arm. So you have to go through each rules and regulation, safety rules, regulation in depth. Then only you can avoid these things. So these key points always remember. Robot must not injure. If you are designing any robot, it must obey your instruction and it must protect. So these are the basic 3 laws of robotics. And here I'm just trying to, I have defined industrial robot. Now I'm defining what is robot system. So robot system is a combination of controller, this manipulator or robotic arm. In standard language, we say robotic arm as a manipulator. So normally you can come across this so many times. What is manipulator? So manipulator is a robotic arm. So this highlighted one in this picture is showing the robotic arm or manipulator. The second element of robotic system is control panel. So this is a control panel. Third is smart pad. Smart pad means your control, your remote control, you can say. This is smart pad. So with the help of this smart pad, you are going to give instruction to your robot controller, and robot controller is going to execute that instruction and passes to the robotic arm or manipulator. See, in definition, we have gone through like robot can be fixed or mobiles. If I'm going to fix this robot here, so it means it is grounded, but robot can be also mounted in this way. This black rails is considered as linear unit. Linear unit means robot can slide so that the reachability. If I'm going to fix this robot here, it means it is not going to work beyond this circle. But if I'm mounting my robot on this, it means it can work up to here and up to here. So we are basically increasing the working zone of the robot. So this is the linear unit. And the last one is the table or positioner. So this is the table, on that you can mount your workpiece. So these five things are the very like basic things while you are explaining robot system. I have only explained like this is robotic arm, this is controller, this is teach pendant, this is linear unit, and this is table or positioner. So these five things are very common while you are creating any robot system, because you cannot take any work from this robotic arm unless until you have this controller, you have this teach pendant, you have this table and other things. So these are the few basic elements that you require while you creating any cell. That is known as robotic cell also. So or robotic cell, that is very important. While you are developing applications, you have to develop your application with the help of this cell. Now, we have gone through basic definition of industrial robot. We have gone through the basic elements of industrial robots, industrial systems, industrial cell. Now, can classify this industrial robot. So this classification is very important, and mainly we considered two classification, that is based on their geometry and based on their control. So based on their geometry means you have to consider here their physical structure. Means a robot can be Cartesian type. It is also known as gantry or linear robot. Even rectangular robot sometimes we say. Then we can have jointed arm robot, that is 6-axis articulated one. We can have cylindrical robot based on structure. Based on structure we have SCARA. Based on structure we have spherical robot. So there are so many robots that we have. But what is the difference? What is the difference between all these categories? If you remember, just few minutes ago, I have defined what is industrial robots. In that, fourth basic criteria was number of axes. It can be prismatic or it can be revolute. So based on these two, we have classified our robot in this manner, because geometry means we have to consider their joints. So this is having all P. It means all linear motion we can achieve through this Cartesian robot. If we are considering cylindrical robots, it is having one revolute. This is revolute, and this rest two is prismatic, means linear motion. Again, spherical, if you consider two revolute, this is revolute, and this is prismatic. When we consider SCARA, that is again revolute, and this is P. When we consider this articulated robot, it is having R. All joints are revolute. See here, we have defined joint configuration on the first three joints. First three joints means you have to check the nature of first three joints. That is also known as major axis of the robot. If you see this one, articulated robot, it is having 6 degrees of freedom, 6 axis. So I'm not going to define like R. This is first three. This is R, this is R, this is R. But I'm not going to define rest three joint configuration. It may be R also, but I'm only defining first three major axis joint configuration. And based on that, I found it is all revolute. Anyone can unmute and answer this question. Why this spherical robot and this SCARA robot having same joint configuration? 2R, 1P. 2R, 1P. Why we need to define these two robots with different name if the joint configurations are same? One is spherical, RRP, one is SCARA, again RRP. Can anyone answer this? If you wish, you can, otherwise I will reply this thing. See, these two robots having same joint configuration, but they are going to cover different work envelope. Different work envelope means the area. Suppose, see, with the help of this, you can easily understand. See, this is this one, this the work envelope of both robot, the area on which it is going to work is totally different because of their structure also. Structure is totally different, and that plays a role in defining their work envelope. Their working zone is totally different. If you see this Cartesian robot, all rectangular, all prismatic. So here we are getting some rectangular type work envelope area. Cylindrical itself says you are going to get cylindrical kind of work envelope. Spherical means some sphere type of work envelope you are going to. But in SCARA case, you are going to get some unique shape criteria, work envelope area here. And this articulated is the most popular robot in the industry because it offers 6 degrees of freedom and it covers maximum area around where. So based on their work envelope, we can also choose these robots as robots as per our requirements. So here again, you can easily identify this is Cartesian robot, gantry robots, both are same because it covers rectangular shape area. Cylindrical, again cylindrical, spherical robot, spherical type. SCARA, you can say this is the unique area it is going to cover. And this is our articulated. This is articulated 6 degree of freedom robot that is very popular in industry. And how you can see, how you can say that, because in articulated says more than 60% robots are articulated category that installed in industry. In second place, this linear rectangular Cartesian robots comes. Around 20% robots, more than 20% robots are installed in industry. When we talk about SCARA, it is around 10, more than 10% robots we are installed with this. So if you have to rank your robot, so at first place, this articulated comes. Then at second, this Cartesian robot. Then in third place, SCARA. SCARA is known as world fastest robot. SCARA is known as world fastest robot. And if you see the full form of SCARA, you can find here, this SCARA itself says Selective Compliance Assembly Robotic Arm. This robot is mainly used for assembly purpose. So SCARA is the world fastest robot, but how you can say this is fast, this is faster than this articulated, or articulated is faster than this Cartesian? If you have to analyze, or if you want to measure the speed of any robot, you just have to do one simple task. Suppose you want to do some task. Suppose I'm going to pick this part from this end and I want to place it here. So for this, I'm writing program and I'm running this program on this articulated. So this articulated, suppose I'm going to run this program. So I have to see whether like it is going to suppose run 140 program per minute, PPM. And if SCARA, same program I'm going to execute, if it is going to give me this much cycle time, 150 program per minute. So that means this SCARA is having highest speed. So this is the way, with the help of that, you can analyze which robot is faster and which is slower. The second category of this classification says based on their control. So control means you have to consider two things. One is motion control strategy. That means robot is servo controlled or not, whether robot is having some feedback or not. If that is not there, if you have remember, first generation of robots are non-servo controlled. So this is non-servo controlled robot, and whatever like feedback or motion strategy we are defined by the servo control, it means here lot of feedbacks are there. We are getting so many feedbacks that that transferring in real time with different controllers and different sensors, whatever like peripheral devices are there, they are going to communicate with each and everything, and based on that this motion strategy is defined. Second, when we talk control, it means how this motion path is achieved. That is again very important. So motion path is achieved in, it can be random. That means point to point. It can jump from here to here in any manner. But this is path bound. Second two is like this is linear motion and this is circular motion path. So both are path bounded. So here, if I'm going to move my robot from P1 to P2, it is always go in straight line. If I'm saying this circular, it means it is going to follow this circle. So like that. So control strategy always defined in two ways, whether it is servo control or non-servo control. Then second is which type of motion or which type of trajectory we are going to follow with this. So this is all about classification. So first classification we have covered with based on their geometry, and second we have covered with their control system. Now come to the basic architecture of industrial robots. If we have to club all things together, like this is teach pendant, as I said, this is very basic element. Second element is controller. Third element is robotic arm. And you require to power up this controller as well as this robot with 3-phase or 2 single phase supply that you have to define according to your like robotic arm specification. Then this is very important, end effector. Suppose I have created these things and I have not, if I have not finalized our end effector, so I'm not going to develop any application, because for any application you require to work with this end effectors things. So end effector is very important. Suppose I want to perform painting operations, so I have to go with some painting tool. Suppose I want to do some machining operation, I have to select some milling tool. Suppose I want to do some welding, so I have to finalize my welding gun, like that. So you can find there are 3 drive systems available with robot. You can robot joints with electrical motors also, with hydraulic system also, and with pneumatics. So this is the 3 source of energy. Worldwide you can find only these 3. You can make your joint in a motion with the help of electrical motors, with the help of hydraulics, or with the help of pneumatics. So this is the basic things that you have to consider. And while talking about end effector tool means you can mount tool as a sensors, brushes, camera, cutting tool, drilling, grippers, magnets, screwdrivers, spray gun, vacuum cup, welding gun. So there are so many different types of tools. Ready-made tools are available. Like this is vacuum handling. Suppose this is vacuum cups. Suppose you want to pick any sophisticated item from the conveyor. Suppose any Maggi packets are coming on the table on the conveyor. So that Maggi packets cannot be gripped by these 2 fingers because it may crack the noodles. So you have to go with this vacuum suction cup kind of. Section of gripper is very important. 3 fingers gripper, 4 fingers grippers, 2 fingers gripper, electric motor actuated or pneumatic actuated. So all kinds of things are available. So this is welding gun. Here you can see again spot welding gun. This is arc welding gun. This is some deburring tool. So this particular tip of the tool is going to remove burr from the machine part. So this is some gluing operations. With the help of that, we can paste some glue on the required place. This is vision. Suppose you want to perform some vision application, so you have this camera. So with the help of that, you can develop any application. So this is not good enough. If you are having tool, you can easily go and change it. Robot is multi-purpose. That doesn't mean you can just change the tool and you can have that applications. You have to take care of the energy supply. Like human body required energy supply in terms of their fooding. We take food morning, we take food in afternoon, we take food in night, then only our body will work. So our body always requires some energy. Then only we can work with this. So in same way, suppose I am going to mount our welding gun here. This is suppose my welding gun. So this welding gun required what? This welding gun required some wire that is known as electrode. So that should be supplied at this tip. So this is the supposed tip. So here I require this electrode wire. Also, we require some inert gases so that it can be protected. So some gas cylinder should be there. Through that, I'm just applying my gas to this nozzle. So whatever things you require, whatever things are required under your applications, whether it is wire or gas or any fluid, so you have to supply that particular item at the tip of your tool, at the required place of your end effector. Then only you can manage their energy supply. So see, this is the hose pipe that is given on robotic arm. So you can just pass it on your supply with the help of this house line, and you can supply it to the end of the robot tool. So based on that, you can control different energy supply, and you can develop you can play with the different robotic application. So end effector can be mechanical type. It can be 2 or more fingers that can be actuated by robot controller to open or close the work part. Second end effector can be vacuum gripper type. It is having suction cups, then magnetic devices, then adhesive devices, simple mechanical devices, and dual acting grippers means suppose you want to perform soldering kind of things. So soldering can be done with the help of this. So at one end you can grip your solder, and at one end you can supply your input material. Interchangeable grippers, see here the body or this casing of the gripper is same, only we have to change the finger geometry, finger drawings. Sensors, feedback, fingers are there. Suppose you are using a spanner for tightening or loosening your any object. So you can apply force and torque sensors at the end of this robotic arm, so it can manage the application. Then multi-finger grippers are also available. So with the help of multi-finger grippers, we can grip different type and shape of the object. So if you see how this industrial robotics industry work. So industrial robotics can have three main verticals. One is robot manufacturer, one is R&D, where we are doing research and development kind of things so that we can get more updated robots. And third is integrators. So if you are having good knowledge, or if you are having if you want to enter in this domain in robotics and you want to start your career, so either you can choose this manufacturing domain where you are going to manufacture robot, or you can attach with some R&D groups, research and development groups, or you can work with this integrators. So nowadays you can find huge job opportunity under this, because everyone is going to purchase this robotic arm and everyone having some existing system. So how they can integrate current, like plant current hardwares with this robotic arm. So that integrations required high skills. So in that area, people are working, and you have lot of job opportunity under this integrate area. And so many people are also working with different research, robotic research domain and manufacturing domains where robots are manufactured. So you can find there are so many worldwide manufacturing industries like ABB, Yashikawa, KUKA, Fanuc, Kawasaki, Spen, Istanbul, Nachi, Komau, Adobe. So these are the different worldwide manufacturers. And one of the Indian industry also entered in this, like if you have heard name of TAL, Tata Automation Limited. So Tata had started their automation vertical with name TAL. Under that, they are producing this Indianized robot. So this is again having 6 degrees of freedom. This is the articulated one only. All these robots are articulated, and but they are only lagging in their size of the robot. They are more bulky, but these robots the supplied by KUKA, ABB are more slim trim and having good lightweight geometry. So more like it will take few years more to like make it more adaptable with industry and other areas. So it is good, like we have started production of industrial robots also. So Tata has entered with this, and we have so many groups that working in integration area, like IDAG is a company, Godel, Grandmaster, Rhythmsoft, Cosma Magma, MEC, Pari Robotics, Win Automation. So this is Wipro initiative in automation that is started in this robotics area. So you can find huge big names are coming in automation domain, so that they can help you out under this robot integration category. So very high industrial demand. So so I'm just stopping here. In my next session, I will start with this operation, and I will touch upon the programming part. So till this slide, or till this, if you have any doubt, if you feel any query in your mind, so you can ask me. I'm open to your all query. I'm ready to answer your all query. So if anyone ready to ask anything, they can ask. So you have no query? Anyone having any kind of doubt related to this talk? Okay, I'm getting reply in chat box, so no questions. So please don't forget to join my next session. You can see in a given schedule also, and if you are not going to attend that particular session, second session, you are not going to conclude this one also. So I have created only base for my programming and other things today, and in next session, that is basically I can give you, that I can promise you, that will give you a more knowledge about programming concept and robot operation kind of things, and that will help you out in your research work or in in any other like in other study if you want to perform in this robot. So that is very, very important. So don't forget to attend my next session, and that is scheduled on Wednesday, I think, in first half.
Thank you so much, Vikasa, for
Thank
such a
you.
wonderful session and knowledgeable information shared with us. Thank you, sir, and we are waiting for your next session as per the schedule. Thank you so
Okay.
much, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, dear participants, thank you being with us today. So, to our today's the first day of this 5-day program has been completed. So, I request you all to please join tomorrow as per the schedule at 10 a.m. Thank you all. Thank you so much.